Ship, the Odyssey. Stars twinkled like distant candles scattered across an endless void. A sense of calm usually washed over him in these moments, but today, there was an unease he could not explain. He had been traveling alone for weeks, navigating deep into uncharted space beyond the border of human exploration. The silence of the universe had always been comforting, but now it felt different. Elias checked his instruments again. The planet ahead was unlike anything he had seen before. Its surface shimmered faintly, covered in a soft iridescent glow that reflected the light of a nearby star. No reports or satellite scans had mentioned this world. It was as if it had appeared out of nowhere. A shiver ran down his spine, but curiosity overcame caution. Elias had spent his entire career searching for signs of life beyond Earth. Perhaps this was the breakthrough he had always dreamed of. He adjusted the ship's course, descending slowly toward the planet's surface. The atmosphere appeared thin but breathable, and the sensors detected traces of an unusual energy pattern, something alive, yet not like anything recorded in human history. Elias's heart raced. Every instinct told him to be careful, but every scientist in him urged exploration. As the Odyssey passed through the upper atmosphere, the planet's landscape came into view. Towering crystalline structures rose from the ground, catching the sunlight in dazzling colors. Rivers of liquid light snaked through valleys, glowing softly. It was beautiful, almost magical. Elias had seen many wonders in his lifetime, but nothing like this. It seemed like the planet itself was alive, breathing with energy that he could feel even inside the ship. He landed the ship on a flat plateau near one of the glowing rivers. Stepping out, Elias felt a strange sensation. The air was cooler than expected, carrying a sweet, almost musical hum that vibrated through his bones. He could not see its source, but it felt intelligent, as if the planet was aware of his presence. "Hello?" he called softly, though he knew nothing would answer. His voice felt strange in the vast emptiness, small and fragile. But the planet did not remain silent. The energy around him pulsed, brightening and dimming like a heartbeat. Elias took a cautious step forward. Suddenly, the ground beneath him shimmered, and the air shimmered too. A shape appeared ahead, forming slowly out of light and energy. Elias froze. It was tall, taller than any human, with a form that shifted constantly. He could see no face, yet he felt eyes upon him. The figure moved gracefully toward him, gliding above the glowing river as if walking on air. "Do not be afraid," a voice said. It was not spoken with lips, yet Elias understood every word. It resonated directly in his mind, clear and calm, carrying no anger, no threat, only curiosity. Elias swallowed hard. Who are you?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "I am the Queen," the being replied. Its voice was melodic, soothing, yet powerful. "You are far from your home, human. You have traveled alone to reach this place. Tell me, are you truly alone?" Elias's mind spun. The question was simple, yet it felt profound. What did she mean? Alone in the universe? Alone as a species? Or alone in spirit? He opened his mouth to answer, but found no words strong enough. He had trained for years to communicate with other species, but this was unlike anything he had prepared for. I think, he started, hesitating. "I am alone on this mission. But humanity, we are never truly alone, I think. Our families, our friends, the people back on Earth, they are always with us in some way." The Queen seemed to shimmer brighter at his words. "Interesting," she said. "You speak of bonds, of connections. But do you understand what it truly means to be alone in the universe?" Elias felt a chill, not from the temperature, but from the weight of the question. The planet pulsed again, stronger this time, and the crystalline towers seemed to resonate with the Queen's presence. It was as if the entire world was listening, waiting. I don't know," he admitted. "I've never been this far from home. I've never met anyone like you. I can feel awe and fear, but I don't know if I truly understand being alone in the universe." A soft laugh, like the sound of wind over glass, filled his mind. "Fear is natural. Curiosity is natural. These are strengths of your kind, human. You survive not because of power, not because of speed, but because you adapt. You think, you feel, you create. You are fragile yet resilient. That is why I ask, are you truly alone?" Elias took a step closer, his fear slowly giving way to fascination. You seem so different. So powerful. I don't understand why you're asking me this question." The Queen moved closer, and the river of light reflected her form, bending and twisting as though reality itself obeyed her presence. I am not like your species, human. We have long forgotten what it means to connect, to grow with others. We exist, yet we are incomplete. I seek understanding, and perhaps you can show me. Elias's mind raced. Could a single human show an entire alien civilization something they had lost? The thought was terrifying, yet exhilarating. I will try, he said finally. I don't know what you want, but I will try to answer. The Queen seemed pleased. The air around him shimmered gently, and the hum of the planet softened. Good. The journey begins here, human. Your courage, your mind, your heart, these will be tested. And only then will the truth reveal itself. Elias swallowed hard, feeling the weight of her words. He had left Earth seeking knowledge, but he had not expected a challenge like this. It was not about science or technology, it was about understanding, about proving something fundamental about what it meant to be human. He looked around at the glowing landscape, the crystalline towers and the rivers of light. The planet was alive in a way he had never imagined, and the Queen, whatever she truly was, held secrets that could change the way he understood life itself. For the first time in his life, he felt small in the vastness of the universe, yet strangely hopeful. Will I survive? He asked, more to himself than to her. You will survive, human, the Queen replied softly. But survival is not enough. You will learn. You will grow. And perhaps you will teach me what it means to be truly alive. Elias nodded, unsure of what lay ahead. The adventure he had dreamed of his entire life had begun, not in the cold emptiness of space, nor in the scientific calculations of his instruments, but in the glowing heart of a world that challenged everything he thought he knew. He was alone, yes, but perhaps not as alone as he had feared. As the sun of the distant star cast its golden light across the shimmering landscape, Elias felt a strange warmth. He had crossed the boundary of the known universe and stepped into a realm of questions, mysteries, and possibilities. The journey ahead would test his mind, his spirit, and his humanity in ways he could never have imagined. And as he stood before the Queen, her form radiating light and curiosity, he realized that the universe was not empty. It was alive, waiting for those bold enough to understand it. Elias Grant felt the weight of the Queen's presence even as he walked across the glowing river's edge. Every step he took sent gentle ripples across the luminous surface. The air hummed softly around him, a quiet melody that seemed alive. He had never experienced anything like this. On Earth he had seen wonders in nature and technology, but nothing approached the living brilliance of this planet, or the intelligence that radiated from the Queen. You will begin your first challenge, the Queen said, her voice resonating clearly in his mind. It will test your mind, your choices, and your courage. Do you understand? I think so, Elias replied, his voice steady, though his heart raced. What do I need to do? The Queen raised a hand, or at least a shape that resembled a hand, and the world around him shifted. The crystalline towers seemed to blur and stretch, the glowing rivers bending and flowing in impossible directions. The ground beneath him became transparent, revealing a vast network of light beneath the surface. Elias felt as if he were standing on the edge of a dream, unsure if he would fall. This challenge is simple to understand but difficult to master, the Queen explained. You must cross this world to reach the other side. But the path is not straightforward. You will face puzzles of perception, choices of morality, and tests of creativity. Remember, human, your strength is not in brute force but in thought, in heart, in understanding. Elias swallowed hard. He had prepared for physical challenges, for scientific experiments, even for diplomatic encounters, but this was unlike anything he had imagined. He took a cautious step forward. The ground beneath him glowed brighter, responding to his movement. Each step created a pattern of light, almost like a map forming in real time. Soon he encountered the first obstacle, a series of floating crystalline shapes, each reflecting the light in different ways. They shifted slowly, forming patterns that seemed random yet deliberate. I have to figure the pattern, Elias muttered. He studied the shapes carefully, noting the angles, the reflections, the rhythm of their movement. Slowly, a solution began to emerge. He mirrored the shapes with his own steps, moving carefully. As he completed the sequence, the path ahead opened, the shapes dissolving into streams of sparkling light. Good, the Queen's voice said. You see patterns where others might see chaos. This is the gift of human perception. But the next test is not of perception alone, it is of choice. Before him, two paths appeared. One was smooth and straight, lined with gentle light and a warm glow. The other was jagged, shifting, and unpredictable, but it also seemed to lead to a brighter, richer light beyond. Elias paused. His mind raced. Which path would reveal more about himself? Which path would answer the Queen's question of whether he was truly alone? He thought of Earth, of the lessons he had learned, of his friends and family. The smooth path represented comfort and safety, while the jagged path was uncertain but potentially transformative. Elias chose the jagged path. Immediately, the world seemed to respond to his choice. The ground shifted under him, but instead of falling, he found himself navigating with surprising ease. His instincts, his reasoning, and even his sense of intuition guided him forward. The path led him to a vast chamber filled with thousands of small, glowing orbs floating in the air. Each orb contained a miniature scene, a moment in someone's life, a choice made, a triumph or failure. Elias understood immediately. These were tests of morality and empathy. He had to choose which orbs to follow, which lives to help guide toward better outcomes. He reached for the first orb, a small scene of a child lost in a storm. Elias projected calm and direction, guiding the child to safety. The orb glowed brighter and floated toward him, merging with his path. One by one he helped the lives within the orbs, making careful decisions, balancing risk and compassion. Some choices were easy, some were difficult. He felt the weight of responsibility in every decision. "You are learning," the Queen said. "Your strength is not in avoiding mistakes, but in how you respond to them. Empathy, reflection, and understanding, these are human qualities that cannot be replicated by power alone." After what felt like hours, the orbs converged, forming a radiant bridge leading him across a vast chasm of glowing mist. Elias took a deep breath and stepped forward. He realized that every choice he had made, every risk he had taken was not just a test. It was a reflection of himself, his humanity. At the other side, the Queen appeared again, her form shifting gracefully. "You have done well," she said. "You see patterns, make choices, and show empathy. Yet the final part of this challenge is not of perception or morality. It is of creativity, of imagination, of your spirit." The Queen waved her hand, and the world around Elias transformed once more. He stood in a blank space, infinite and empty, with nothing but a small cube of light floating before him. "You must shape this space," the Queen explained. "Show me what it means to be human. Use your mind, your heart, and your creativity. You are alone here, yet not alone, because your spirit carries the essence of your kind." Elias hesitated. He had studied art, architecture, and design on Earth, but this was beyond anything he had ever imagined. There were no rules, no limits, only his own imagination. He closed his eyes, thinking of Earth. The forests, the oceans, the cities, the laughter of children, the quiet moments of reflection, the bonds of friendship and love. Slowly, the cube of light began to shift, expanding and transforming into shapes and forms inspired by his memories. Mountains rose in the distance, rivers flowed, and skies filled with stars. He created cities that thrived with life, bridges connecting distant lands, gardens that shimmered with every color imaginable. And in the center of it all, he placed a small human figure, a reminder of his own presence, a symbol of humanity's ability to adapt, create, and endure. The Queen observed silently. "You have done well, human," she said. "Through perception, choice, empathy, and creativity, you have demonstrated what it means to carry the essence of your kind. You are fragile yet strong, small yet capable of shaping worlds, alone yet connected." Elias felt a surge of pride and relief. He had faced challenges that tested every part of himself, and he had succeeded. Yet at the same time, he felt a new understanding dawning within him. The Queen's question, "Are you truly alone?" was not simply about physical isolation. It was about connection, about the choices that define a being, about the spirit that perseveres even in the vast emptiness of the universe. "You see," the Queen continued, "your kind survives not because you dominate, but because you adapt. You connect, you create, you endure. Alone you are fragile, but together, with thought, with heart, with spirit, you are extraordinary. You have shown me what your kind can be, and perhaps through you my people may remember what we have lost." Elias nodded slowly. He had expected tests of skill, of knowledge, perhaps even of strength. But nothing in his training could have prepared him for this. Tests of spirit, tests of heart, tests of humanity itself. And yet, in facing them, he had discovered a strength he had not fully realized existed within him. "Your journey has only begun," the Queen said, her form glowing brighter. "There are many paths ahead, many lessons to learn. You will face challenges that test not only your mind, but your heart and your spirit. And through it all, you will discover the truth about yourself and about your kind. Are you ready to continue, human?" Elias took a deep breath. The glowing rivers, the crystalline towers, and the endless sky stretched before him like an invitation. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and mystery, yet he felt more alive than ever. "I am ready," he said firmly. "Good," the Queen replied, her voice filled with a strange warmth. "The universe is vast, and there is much to learn. You carry the essence of your kind, human. Remember it, and you will never truly be alone." As Elias moved forward, the glowing world around him seemed to pulse in response, alive and aware. He realized that the journey ahead would challenge him in ways he could not yet imagine. But for the first time, he felt a deep sense of purpose, a connection to something greater than himself. The challenges had begun, and he would face them, not as a solitary traveler lost in space, but as a human carrying the strength, creativity, and spirit of his entire species. And so, with the Queen watching silently, Elias stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face the trials that awaited, knowing that every step, every choice, and every act of creation was a testament to what it truly meant to be human. Elias Grant walked through the glowing world the Queen had created for him, feeling a mixture of awe and uncertainty. Each step he took revealed wonders beyond imagination, fields of light that shifted like liquid, forests of crystal that chimed softly in the wind, and rivers that sparkled with colors he had never seen before. Yet beneath the beauty there was a quiet sadness he could feel but could not fully understand. "You have passed the first trials, human," the Queen's voice echoed gently in his mind. "But now you will learn why I have brought you here. It is time for revelation." Elias stopped and looked up at her shifting form. "Revelation?" he asked. "About what?" The Queen's shape pulsed with a soft glow. "About my people and perhaps about yours. We once thrived, human, but we lost something essential. We have lived for countless generations, yet we are incomplete. Our minds are sharp, our bodies strong, but our hearts have grown distant. We forgot what it means to connect, to feel, to grow together." Elias frowned. He had never imagined a civilization could be so advanced, yet so lonely. "But why?" he asked. "How can a people forget something so important?" The Queen moved gracefully across the glowing landscape, her form reflecting in the rivers of light. "Over time, we prioritized knowledge and efficiency over emotion and connection. We built towers of logic, machines of precision, and cities of order. But we abandoned the bonds that make life meaningful. We exist, yet we are empty in a way that humans are not, even in your small, fragile lives. You may not realize it yet, human, but your kind thrives because you do not forget your bonds, your feelings, your creativity." Elias felt a chill, not from the air, but from the weight of her words. He thought of Earth, the conflicts, the struggles, the divisions, but also the love, the friendships, the courage, the hope. Humans were flawed, yes, but they persisted. They created, they dreamed, and they connected. That, he realized, was their true strength. "You want to know if humans are alone," he said slowly, "but I think no one is truly alone if they can feel, if they can care, if they can imagine. We may be small in the universe, but our hearts are strong." The Queen's form shimmered brighter. "Yes, that is why you were chosen, human. You carry something my people have forgotten. Your kind strength is not in power or longevity, but in spirit, the ability to connect, to adapt, to hope." Elias looked around at the world she had created. "And what do you want me to do with this?" he asked. "Show you how humans live? Teach your people?" "I wish to understand, human," the Queen replied. "I wish to see if the spark of life you carry can ignite a memory in my people. If it can, perhaps we can regain what was lost." The ground beneath them shimmered again, and Elias realized that the world itself was responding to their conversation. Paths opened, glowing towers shifted, and the rivers of light flowed more brightly. "This planet, it's alive," he said. "It feels like it's listening." "It is," the Queen confirmed. "All life is connected, human. Even a planet carries memory, energy, and consciousness in ways your kind has only begun to understand. But my people have grown blind to this. You may help us remember. Elias took a deep breath, trying to process everything. The Queen was asking him to do more than survive challenges. She was asking him to be a teacher, a guide, and a living example of what it meant to be human. It was overwhelming, but also inspiring. "What must I do first?" he asked. "First, you must see what has been lost," the Queen said. She moved closer, and the rivers of light reflected her form, bending and twisting as though reality itself was part of her. "Follow me." Elias obeyed, walking across the glowing landscape. They arrived at a vast structure, unlike anything he had ever seen. It was a city of crystal and light, but it was silent, empty, and cold. The towers reached high into the sky, reflecting the faint glow of the distant star, but there was no movement, no laughter, no life. "This was once our home," the Queen said softly, "but over time, we abandoned the bonds that make life meaningful. Knowledge without connection leaves only emptiness. Our cities are perfect, yet they are hollow." Elias walked slowly through the empty streets, feeling the absence of life like a physical weight. He could see the intricate designs, the careful planning, the beauty, but it all felt lifeless. He remembered Earth's cities full of noise, laughter, and chaos. They were imperfect, but alive. I understand," he said quietly. "Perfection isn't enough if there is no life, no connection." The Queen's voice resonated in his mind. "Yes, human. You see clearly. Now you will help me understand how your kind survives and thrives. Show me what gives humans strength." Elias thought for a moment. He recalled his own life on Earth, his family, his friends, the moments of kindness, courage, and creativity that had shaped him. Slowly he raised his hands, and the glowing rivers around them responded. Using the same energy that had guided him in the challenges, he began to create. He shaped memories of Earth into visible forms, a small child helping another up after a fall, a community building a bridge together, people sharing meals and stories, families laughing under the sun. Each memory glowed brightly, resonating through the city of crystal. The Queen watched in silence. "This is remarkable, human," she said. "You carry connection, empathy, and creativity. You show me that life is not measured by perfection or longevity, but by the bonds and choices that define it. You remind me of what we have lost," Elias continued, showing moments of courage, compassion, and hope. He remembered the stories of explorers, inventors, and ordinary people who faced challenges with heart and determination. The city of crystal responded, glowing brighter, as if awakening after centuries of emptiness. "You see, human," the Queen said finally, her form pulsing gently. "Your kind is not truly alone. Even in the vastness of space, you carry connection, meaning, and hope. That is your strength. That is what makes you human." Elias felt a warmth spread through him, not from the energy around him, but from the realization that he had made a difference, even here in this alien world. I think I understand," he said. "Humans survive because we care, because we connect, because we create. We may be small, but our spirit is strong." "Exactly," the Queen replied. "And now, human, you will carry this understanding further. My people may have forgotten, but through you they may remember. You have shown me that even in isolation, a being is never truly alone if they carry connection in their heart." Elias looked around at the city of crystal, now glowing with renewed energy. He felt a sense of responsibility, but also hope. The journey ahead would be long and the challenges greater, but he knew he could face them. Humanity had survived countless hardships, and he carried that strength with him. "You will guide us," the Queen said, "not with force, but with example. Show us what it means to live, to connect, to hope. Your kind may be small in number, human, but your spirit has the power to inspire civilizations." Elias nodded. The Queen's words resonated deeply within him. He had always dreamed of discovering new life, of exploring the stars, but he had never imagined that the greatest discovery would be about himself and about humanity. "You have one more task for now," the Queen continued. "Reflect on what you have learned here. Understand that connection, empathy, and creativity are the true measure of strength. Remember, human, your species survives not because of might, but because of spirit. Never forget this." Elias closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He let the glowing rivers, the crystalline towers, and the city of light fill his mind. He felt the presence of the Queen, the awareness of the planet and the memories of Earth merging into a single understanding. He was small, yet part of something greater. He was alone, yet never truly alone. When he opened his eyes, the Queen's form shimmered beside him. "Well done, human. You have begun to understand. But this is only the beginning. Many lessons remain and many challenges await. Are you ready to continue?" Elias squared his shoulders and nodded. "I am ready," he said. "I will face whatever comes, and I will carry the spirit of my kind with me." "Good," the Queen said, her voice filled with warmth and approval. "Then let the journey continue. The universe is vast, human, and there is much yet to discover. And through it all, remember, you are never truly alone." Elias took a final look at the glowing city, feeling a deep sense of connection and purpose. He understood now that this journey was not just about survival or discovery, but about carrying the essence of humanity into the unknown, teaching, inspiring, and learning along the way. And as he stepped forward, the rivers of light flowing around him seemed to pulse with life, echoing the lesson he had learned. In connection, creativity, and compassion, no being, human or alien, is ever truly alone. Elias Grant stepped carefully across the glowing rivers of the alien world, feeling a new sense of purpose. The Queen had shown him the depths of her civilization's history, the brilliance of their minds, the emptiness of their hearts, and the lessons humanity could offer. But now the challenge had changed. It was no longer about tests of perception, choice, or creativity. It was about building a bridge between species. "You are ready for the next step, human," the Queen said, her voice calm yet filled with expectation. "You have shown the essence of your kind. Now you must teach it, not through words alone, but through example. My people have grown distant and cautious. They have forgotten what connection means. Can you guide them?" Elias took a deep breath. He had faced isolation, puzzles, and moral challenges, but this was different. This was diplomacy, trust, and leadership all rolled into one. And yet he knew the Queen had chosen him for a reason, because he carried human spirit in every action. "I will try," he said firmly. "I'll show them what humanity can offer." The Queen's form shimmered brighter. "Good. Follow me." They moved through the glowing landscape to a vast structure, larger and more complex than any Elias had seen before. It was a council hall, suspended in the air by streams of luminous energy. Inside, representatives of the Queen's species gathered, tall, elegant beings with forms that shifted like flowing water. Their eyes glowed faintly, observing him with curiosity and suspicion. "This is the Council of Minds," the Queen explained. "They will decide whether my people can accept what you have shown. You must convince them, not with words alone, but through your actions, your presence, and your spirit." Elias stepped forward, feeling the weight of 1,000 eyes upon him. He recalled the lessons from his challenges: perception, empathy, creativity. He took a deep breath and allowed his presence to convey openness and sincerity. "You come from a distant world," one of the council members said, its voice like a soft chime. "We have studied humans from afar. Your species is small, fragile, and yet, you survived. Why should we trust you? Why should we learn from you?" Elias nodded. He had anticipated skepticism, but he did not falter. "I understand your doubt," he said calmly. "Humans are not perfect. We have made mistakes and we continue to face challenges, but we also learn, we create, we connect. Our strength is not in power, but in our ability to care, to adapt, and to endure. I cannot force you to trust me, but I can show you through what I do what humanity truly means." The council remained silent, their forms shifting as if considering his words. Then the Queen spoke. "Observe, Council. Witness what this human carries." With her guidance, Elias began to demonstrate the lessons he had learned on the glowing world. He recreated moments of human cooperation and problem-solving, showing how humans overcame obstacles through teamwork and creativity. He illustrated empathy by guiding miniature simulations of lives, helping them flourish through careful choices. He displayed imagination by crafting landscapes filled with beauty, hope, and potential. The council watched silently, their glowing eyes wide with wonder. Some leaned closer, studying his actions. Elias could sense their curiosity growing, replacing suspicion with interest. "Your species values structure and perfection," he said, "but we value connection, spirit, and growth. That is what allows us to survive. even when everything seems impossible. One council member finally spoke. Your examples are compelling. But can humans truly guide an entire civilization? How do we know this is not a fleeting demonstration? Elias nodded thoughtfully. I cannot prove it with certainty, but change is never instant. Growth comes slowly, through consistent effort, understanding, and patience. I am here to start that process, to offer an example of what can be possible if your people remember connection, empathy, and creativity. The room was silent again, yet Elias could feel a shift in the air. The council was no longer hostile. They were listening, considering, and questioning themselves. He realized that influence did not come from force or authority, but from integrity, patience, and presence. The queen stepped closer, her form glowing softly. You are showing them more than words, human. You are showing them the value of spirit, of heart, of connection. This is the essence of leadership. Elias continued his demonstration, guiding the council through interactive scenarios. He showed how small actions could ripple through a society, creating understanding, cooperation, and hope. He illustrated how empathy and creativity could solve conflicts that sheer logic could not. Slowly, the council began to mimic his actions, experimenting with the principles he demonstrated. It is different from how we have always done things, a council member murmured, but I can see the value. There is strength here beyond our own understanding. Elias smiled faintly. Yes, strength is not always visible in size or power. It lives in choices, in connections, in what we create together. The queen observed quietly, her energy pulsing gently. You see, human, they are beginning to understand. Your presence reminds them of what they have lost and what they may regain. The council spent hours interacting with Elias, learning, testing, and questioning. Some resisted, clinging to the ways of their ancestors, but others embraced the possibilities, exploring new ways of thinking and connecting. Elias could sense the shift, the first seeds of change taking root in a civilization that had long forgotten the meaning of connection. You have done well, human, the queen said at last, her voice carrying warmth. But remember, true change takes time. This is only the beginning. My people must continue to practice what you have shown them. You will guide, advise, and inspire, but you cannot do the work for them. That is the path of growth. Elias nodded, understanding the responsibility he had undertaken. He had come seeking knowledge, yet he had become a teacher, a bridge and a symbol of human spirit. The thought was daunting, but he also felt a quiet pride. Humanity had survived against odds far greater than any alien skepticism. They had endured because of connection, creativity, and courage. And now he carried that spirit into a new world. Will they accept us? He asked quietly, speaking to the queen alone as the council dispersed. They are beginning to understand, the queen replied. Some faster than others, yes, but the seed has been planted. Your kind spirit is contagious, human. You have shown them that life is more than logic and perfection. It is connection, creativity, and hope. That is why you were chosen. Elias took a deep breath, looking at the glowing rivers and the crystalline towers. He had come seeking discovery, but he had found responsibility, purpose, and the chance to shape a civilization in a new way. I will do my best, he said firmly. I will help them learn, grow, and remember. You will, the queen said. And through your guidance, perhaps both our civilizations will grow stronger. Humans are small, fragile yet resilient. Your presence reminds us that spirit and heart are just as important as knowledge and power. This is the alliance we will build, not of conquest, but of understanding, respect, and shared purpose. Elias nodded. He realized that alliances were more than treaties or agreements. They were about trust, connection, and the willingness to learn from one another. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to connect, and to endure. Now he would carry that strength into the universe in a way he had never imagined. The queen's energy pulsed softly around him, a sign of approval. The journey continues, human. There will be challenges, misunderstandings, and setbacks, but the path is clear. You have begun to build bridges where there were none, and through that, both our kinds will learn, grow, and thrive. Elias felt a wave of determination. He had faced isolation, fear, and doubt, and had emerged stronger. Now he faced the responsibility of guiding not just a species, but the hope of interstellar understanding. It was daunting yet exhilarating. I understand, he said quietly. I will continue to teach, to guide, and to inspire. I will carry the spirit of humanity wherever I go. Good, the queen replied. her voice filled with warmth and quiet strength. And remember, human, the universe is vast. There is much to learn and much to share. But as long as you carry your spirit, you will never truly be alone. Elias looked out over the glowing rivers, the shifting crystalline towers, and the city that pulsed with light and life. For the first time, he felt the true power of connection. Not just human connection, but the bond between civilizations, species, and minds. He was no longer a lone traveler in space. He was a teacher, a bridge, and a symbol of what humanity could offer the universe. And as the Council continued to explore the principles he had shared, Elias felt hope. The alien civilization was beginning to awaken, guided by the lessons of humanity. The alliance was fragile, yes, but real, and through it he realized that the universe itself could change, not through conquest or force, but through understanding, empathy, and the courage to connect. The journey ahead would be long, filled with tests, discoveries, and growth, but Elias was ready. He had faced the unknown, embraced responsibility, and shown the value of human spirit. And now he would continue forward, carrying the lessons of Earth, the guidance of the Queen, and the hope of building a future where no being, human or alien, would ever be truly alone. Elias Grant stood at the edge of the glowing city, feeling the weight of what he had achieved. The Council of Minds had begun to embrace the principles he had demonstrated: connection, empathy, and creativity. But the journey was not yet complete. There was one final step, one ultimate challenge, that would determine whether the lessons of humanity could truly take root in an alien civilization. The Queen appeared beside him, her form radiant and fluid. "You have done well, human," she said. "You have guided my people through perception, choice, empathy, and leadership. But now you will face the ultimate test. It is not a test of your mind alone, nor of your heart alone. It is a test of your spirit, and of the enduring strength of humanity itself." Elias felt a surge of determination. He had faced puzzles, moral dilemmas, and diplomatic challenges, yet this felt different. This was not just about teaching. It was about showing the universe what humanity could offer. "I am ready," he said firmly. The Queen led him to a vast open field, glowing softly under the light of a distant star. In the center of the field, a massive crystalline structure pulsed with energy. It seemed alive, shifting and flowing as if it breathed. "This," the Queen explained, "is the heart of my people. It contains the knowledge, memories, and essence of our civilization. For centuries it has been dormant, empty in spirit. Now you must awaken it, not with force, but with understanding, empathy, and the essence of what it means to be human." Elias approached the heart, feeling its energy ripple through him. He could sense its brilliance, but also its emptiness. The alien civilization had achieved incredible knowledge and perfection, yet it lacked connection, emotion, and creativity. Elias realized that the heart would respond not to commands or logic, but to the same qualities that had allowed humanity to survive and thrive. He began to project memories of Earth into the heart, small acts of kindness, moments of courage, creativity, and teamwork. He shared stories of explorers who had faced impossible odds, of communities that had come together to overcome challenges, of individuals who had inspired change through empathy and understanding. Each memory shimmered and took shape, forming patterns of light and energy that intertwined with the crystalline structure. The Queen watched silently, her form glowing brighter. "You are doing well, human. Let the heart feel what it means to live, to connect, to hope. Your species carries a strength that is more than knowledge or power. It is spirit, and it can awaken even the most distant minds." As Elias continued, he felt the heart respond. Crystalline structures within it pulsed with light, streams of energy flowing like rivers, and fragments of memories began to awaken. The council members watched in awe, some stepping closer to observe, others whispering among themselves in amazement. The alien civilization had never seen anything like this. "You see, human," the Queen said softly, "your kind's strength is not in size, power, or speed. It is in your ability to connect, to create, and to endure. Even when faced with isolation or challenge, you do not surrender. You adapt, you learn, you care. That is what awakens the heart. Elias smiled faintly, feeling the connection between Earth and this alien world. He realized that humanity's true power was not in domination or conquest, but in the choices individuals made every day, the choices to care, to help, to imagine, and to hope. And now he was sharing that power with an entire civilization. The heart pulsed brighter, sending waves of energy across the field. The council members began to feel its awakening, a sense of understanding and connection spreading through them. They experienced emotions they had long forgotten: curiosity, wonder, empathy, and joy. The alien civilization was beginning to remember what it had lost. "You have done more than I could have imagined," the Queen said, her voice filled with pride. "Through your spirit, human, my people will begin to grow again, not just in knowledge but in heart and connection. This is the legacy you leave behind." Elias felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come to this distant world seeking discovery, and he had found something far greater: a chance to share the essence of humanity with a civilization that had forgotten what it meant to live fully. "I never imagined I could make such a difference," he said quietly. "You have," the Queen replied. "Not through power, not through dominance, but through understanding, creativity, and compassion. That is the way of your kind, human. That is why humans endure, and why your species is never truly alone." The council members began to speak among themselves, sharing insights and experiences awakened by Elias's actions. Some were hesitant, cautious, but others embraced the possibilities with enthusiasm. The alien civilization had been given a spark, a reminder that life was more than logic or perfection, that connection and creativity were essential to growth. Elias walked among them, guiding, encouraging, and demonstrating the principles of humanity. He showed them how cooperation could solve complex problems, how empathy could resolve conflicts, and how imagination could create beauty and possibility where none had existed. Slowly, the council and the people of the alien civilization began to practice what he taught, building a new culture that blended knowledge with heart, logic with creativity. "This is incredible," one council member said, its voice trembling with awe. "We have been alive for millennia, yet we never truly understood the meaning of connection. Your kind has shown us what we were missing." Elias nodded. "It is not just about understanding. It is about living it every day. The choices you make, the connections you form, the care you give, these are what make life meaningful. Your civilization has the knowledge. Now you have the spirit to guide it." The Queen observed quietly, her presence calm and radiant. "Through you, human, we have learned that strength is not only in mind or body, but in spirit. And that is a lesson we will carry forward, forever." Elias felt a sense of peace settle over him. He had faced isolation, fear, and the unknown. Yet he had emerged stronger, wiser, and more connected than ever. Humanity's journey had brought him here, not just as an explorer, but as a teacher, a guide, and a living example of what it meant to endure, create, and connect. As the sun of the distant star cast its light across the glowing city, Elias looked around at the awakening civilization. He saw hope, curiosity, and wonder reflected in their eyes. The heart pulsed gently, a living testament to the power of connection, empathy, and creativity. Humanity's essence had left a permanent mark on this world. "You have done what many would have thought impossible," the Queen said softly. "You have shown that even a single human can inspire change, awaken understanding, and bridge civilizations. That is the legacy you leave." Elias felt a quiet smile spread across his face. He had journeyed across the stars, faced challenges beyond imagination, and discovered the true meaning of humanity. It was not in technology, strength, or knowledge alone, but in the spirit that endured, connected, and inspired. "I will remember," he said quietly, "that no matter how small we may seem, we carry something powerful within us, our ability to connect, to care, and to create." "Indeed," the Queen replied. "And now, human, you will carry this lesson back to your own kind. You will share it, inspire it, and ensure that humanity's spirit continues to grow. You are never truly alone, for you carry the essence of your people within you. Elias nodded, feeling the weight of her words and the truth they carried. The journey had changed him, shaped him, and shown him the greatest strength of all, the strength of the human spirit. And now, he would return to Earth, not just as an explorer, but as a messenger, a teacher, and a living example of what it meant to endure, create, and inspire. As he prepared to leave the glowing world, the Queen's final words echoed in his mind. Remember, human, the universe is vast, but spirit, connection, and heart are stronger than distance, isolation, or fear. Carry this truth with you, and you will never be truly alone. Elias stepped aboard his ship, looking out one last time at the radiant rivers, the crystalline towers, and the awakened civilization. He felt hope, pride, and a deep sense of purpose. Humanity's journey was far from over, but he had proven that even in the vastness of space, the human spirit could inspire, connect, and endure. As the Odyssey lifted off, Elias knew that the lessons he had learned and shared would resonate across worlds and generations. He had faced the unknown, discovered the strength within himself and his species, and left a legacy that would endure, not through power, but through heart, creativity, and connection. And as the stars stretched out before him, endless and shining, Elias realized the truth of the Queen's question. Humans were never truly alone. The bonds they carried, the choices they made, and the spirit they embodied connected them to each other and to the universe itself. The journey continued, but Elias had found the answer. Humanity's greatest strength lay not in what they could conquer, but in what they could share, inspire, and create. And with that, the legacy of the human spirit shone brighter than any star in the endless cosmos.